Alright, today we're going to talk about the complex conjugate, or another way of just saying that is dividing numbers with imaginary numbers. Now, we talked about dividing radicals. If you remember, we cannot have a radical in the denominator, right? Well, imaginary numbers is a radical, right? It's a square root. We cannot have an imaginary number in our denominator. So we have to do the same thing that we did in that situation. This time it's usually a little bit easier because instead of dividing like this big old radical, we're just dividing or multiplying by I. So instead of multiplying by radical, we'll multiply by I. Okay, which flips things around pretty quickly generally. So for example, let's look at number 1. So number 1, I have 9 over negative 8i. So I need to get rid of that I in the basement, so I need to multiply each side by I. So when I multiply the bottom, I'm going to get negative 8i squared. Top, I get 9i. Now, I squared is negative 1, right? So that's going to be 9i over negative 8 times negative 1. Well, negative 8 times negative 1 is positive 8. So 9i over 8. That's as simple as I can get it. That's my answer. Now, obviously, you don't need to necessarily show all those steps. It's me going through the process so you guys can see it, but it's generally a pretty simple, easy day here for what we're doing. So let's look at another example here. So let's say we do number 3, because this negative doesn't really associate with anybody, right? So that kind of confuses students a little bit. So let me show you how that would work. So if I have an I, I'm multiplying it to each. What ends up happening is I have this negative 8i times a negative 9, because I'd get I squared. Now, when I have a negative set up like this, it's like multiplying by a negative 1. They're going to cancel out. The negatives are going to go away, and you're just going to be left with 8i over 9. So, not too tough, right? Let's look at another one. Let's look at number 11. So, here, I have 5 minus 5i over negative 5i. So I start off by multiplying by I to each side here. And this I is going to have to go to both terms because there's 2 terms there. And that's going to give me 5i plus 5 all over 5. Well, should be able to see what this is going to happen here. Because on the top here, I see a common factor of 5. I can take that out. Gives me 5 times I plus 1 all over 5. Hey, now we can cancel those out. And I'm just left with I plus 1 as my answer. That's as simple as I can get. Easy cheesy, right? Let's do one more, make sure we got it. Let's look at number 18. So again, multiply by i's. This i's got to go to both terms. And that's going to give me negative 6i plus, nope, minus 1. And then over 2, right? Because those squareds become negative 1s. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. Negative 1 just becomes negative 1. Okay? Now, is there anything I can do to simplify that? They don't have both have a 2, so I can't take those out. So, yeah, that's as simple as I can get it. That's your answer. Easy cheesy.